Let's talk about Doge. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's a couple topics to bring up, but let's start with the SNL because everybody was excited about SNL and Elon being on there, which he'd mentioned it, which he did mention it a couple times. He mentioned it in a monologue. He also mentioned it, I think, in the Weekend Update.
Yep.
But it did sell off, and it's trying to come back now. It's made up some ground already. But what's your thoughts on Doge?
Yeah, so the picture that I wanted to paint, if you guys didn't watch it, literally within 10 seconds of SNL starting, it tanked.
Yeah.
So like anybody who was a noob discovered what selling the news was all about.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. It dropped about 20% within, the first 10 minutes or so. And then it continued to tank. It fell from $71. The poor soul who bought it, or 71 cents, the poor soul bought it all the way up at 71 cents, got absolutely wrecked and experienced about a 40% drop all the way down to 40 cents. And so I think, actually, it's probably a 45% drop, but and it's starting to come back here. Right now, it's up around 7.25%. I have to believe that there's enough interest to run this probably to $1 eventually.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's getting bought back up. Also consider this. This could potentially be a dead cat bounce as well, and I think that this could actually end up rolling back over. So I'm not saying it's going to $1 this week or tomorrow or anything like that, but I think that there's enough. I mean, it has like an $80 billion market cap, which is more than like Ford and some crazy. It's just a crazy number. So I think that there's definitely enough money behind it to get it moving. There's still that dilution factor, though.
Yeah, Barely Adequate says dead Doge bounce. What's a dead cat bounce?
So for those of you who don't know what a dead cat bounce is, it's essentially when you see a stock crash, most times it's an overreaction that you end up seeing. That's that immediate knee-jerk reaction, and then you see buying start to kind of come back in. People call that a dead cat bounce because it's kind of like you remember watching like Wile E. Coyote back in the day, and he hits the ground and he bounces back up before coming back down to hit the ground again. Gravity usually ends up taking its toll again, and that's essentially what happens here.
I mean, as far as the price prediction, I would have to agree. I would have to agree with $1. I mean, the dollar's been the key mark for all the meme pushers for Doge.
Yeah.
So that would not be surprising. The sell-off was not surprising either. It wasn't like he was going to make some crazy news announcement.
Yeah.
However, what is interesting, there was news announcement that did happen. I don't know if you heard, but did you hear about the SpaceX Doge announcement?
I did.
So SpaceX is launching. Elon already mentioned that he was going to have the Doge was going to be the first coin in space.
Right.
But they're launching Doge 1 mission to the moon, where they're going to be. It's going to be paid for in Doge, so people can pay in Doge. We've already talked about the Dallas Mavericks, how Mark Cuban is accepting Doge for their store, and they've seen hundreds of thousands in revenue. They're not going to sell any of it. This SpaceX for, I think it's the first quarter of next year. Yeah, it's the first quarter of next year. So continue to be out of the hype through next year. I think $1 may be easy.
The Oakland A's too are accepting Dogecoin for tickets. You can buy tickets with Dogecoin.
So I think there's going to be more adopters of that, especially in sports. It's very much a copycat sort of business. So I think it's a smart move. I don't think it's a smart move to not sell it like Mark Cuban's doing.
Yeah.
But it's more of like a marketing play, if we're being honest.
Absolutely. I think it's genius. Like the A's doing this, especially with baseball not being one of the more popular sports among young people, this could definitely get them in their butts in the seats for sure. And if other teams hop on board with this, it should do well for the younger crowd and kind of puts a use case to it. So I still don't like it. I still don't own one token of Doge, but I think if you go into it with the understanding that you could lose literally all of your money, and if you're okay with that, fine. If you're not, then I would stay away from Doge still.